What's up, everyone? Welcome to 49ers After Dark, your only 49ers YouTube channel that's late night. We're your hosts, Grant Cohn, Jessie Naylor. Jesse's in the part of the country where it's for real late night. Thank you for your time as always. How you doing, Jesse?
I'm doing fantastic, Grant. It is week 1 of the NFL season. It doesn't get much better than this, the longest offseason of all time. And I want to be clear, this is 2 weeks in a row, my man, that we've started exactly at 10 o'clock. So if anybody's wondering, I keep Grant in line. We start on time over here.
That's right. That's true. I'm trying to step my game up for Jesse and for all of you. I know that you guys have been noticing, so I'm here. We're here on time, and what we're going to do today is make some bold predictions for the game, for the season, and we'll take any questions you guys have. If you want to hijack the show at any time, you know how we do. Let's start off with this game, week 1. Predict the score right now, Jesse. Right now.
Right now.
Now.
So here's my thought. The 49ers are a 7.5-point favorite. I believe at this moment, 67% of the people are betting on the 49ers to cover that. And the over-under is 45 total points. I think the 49ers don't cover, and I think I'm going to take the under on 45. So I'm going to say it's 24-17 Niners. I know the score sounds closer than what I think the game actually is. I think maybe Detroit scores late to make it, a close-looking score. But the 49ers have the game in control for most of the second half.
That's an interesting prediction. I think you're probably right. I mean, to me, my instinct is the score should be something like 27-13 49ers, that they're 2 touchdowns better than the Lions. But there's a lot of mitigating factors. There's the fact that it's a 10 a.m. game. They're on the road. It's week 1. It's a new coaching staff. It's hard to know what to expect. Still, I'm going 27-13. I think if the 49ers have the right game plan and they don't try to come out attacking Detroit's secondary and they really want to use the strength of their offense, which is running the ball, they should control the game. I don't see how this defense is going to give up more than 13 points unless there are some turnovers by the offense. So I hear you, and you're probably right. And I know 14 points is a big spread, but I'm saying 27-13.
Okay. So if you're going with Grant, you're taking the 49ers to cover the spread. Here's what I will say. The game's going to be one of the trenches. The Lions have done everything they can in the offseason to not only beef up that defensive line, but they've made the offensive line better. They've made the running game better by bringing in, some good running backs. So I would say it's funny because I feel like they're a couple years away, but they're trying to mirror image their team after ours a little bit. And so I feel like they're not quite there. 49ers definitely should win. But again, cross country, early game, week 1, whole new coaching staff. You don't really know what to expect. I think this game's going to be closer than what people think it's going to be.
And they got Romeo Okwara, edge rusher, who had 10 sacks last year. They signed Michael Brockers this year.
Yep.
They have Trey Flowers, who isn't a big pass rusher, but it's a really good player. Yep. They have Jamie Collins, a good front seven. Their defense was awful last year, but they fired their defensive coordinator. And you know who hired him? Do you know?
Patriots?
No, one more guess.
Did.
Yeah, it was the Niners. He is now the Niners passing game coordinator specialist on defense.
Yeah, it's weird. That's a weird deal, right?
Not passing judgment, because that was probably a Matt Patricia production over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what we got.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing too I'll say about the Lions is I really like the coaching staff they have over there. They've brought in a lot of ex-players. They've got Brunell, Aaron Glenn, Deuce Staley. Yeah, Brunell. Yeah, he's one of, I think he's their quarterback coach.
Nice.
They're doing what the 49ers should do and actually bring in an ex-quarterback to teach their quarterback how to play. Yeah. Brunell would have been a good quarterback coach, I think. But I like what the Lions have going on over there. So don't be surprised if this game's a little closer than what I think the pundits would say it is.
And I'm the pundit because I think this is going to be 27-13. But no, you made a really good case. And I was talking to Jack Hammer the other day. He was sort of alluding to the same thing that you're saying. Mm-hmm. So you're probably right. Shivnor says, did Trey not secure the job or did Jimmy win it?
Trey didn't secure it. Jimmy didn't win anything. He didn't have to win anything.
Trey didn't secure it. I don't think he was put in a position to secure it. I think kind of Kyle had his mind made up.
Yeah, basically, and I said this a couple weeks ago, but it's like a championship fight, right? Jimmy was the champion. He was the incumbent. And in order to beat the champion, you have to beat the champion. It can't be a split decision. You're not going to get that edge. And really, this was a split decision fight, and they gave it to Jimmy. So
I think the veterans wanted Jimmy to win it, and I think Kyle drafted Trey Lance with the understanding in the organization that he felt it was a long-term project. So no pressure to push him early. If he ends up being ready, then great. But they didn't show that. He didn't show that. So yeah. Now,
do you think he starts at any point this season? Let's say Jimmy's healthy. Do you think he starts at any point this season, Trey Lance?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yes. I think he played really well in training camp. The fact that he didn't play super well in preseason, it was 40 throws. He was playing with the backup offensive line. When he's going to get a lot of playing time in the regular season with the starters, and he's going to look good. And Jimmy's going to do what Jimmy does. It's inevitable. It's not going to take long.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope that's right. I'm done with the predictions on when a quarterback's going to start. I went bold for week 1, didn't pan out. And right now I don't have a gut feeling on it. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I guess I predicted. My dad pinned me down, maybe bet that bottle of wine before camp started.
Yeah.
I guess I was never really, I'm not trying to backtrack. I never got like strong indications that I was going to win that bet. I just felt I was right. That not that he will start, he should start. He freaking should start, and not starting him is just a bad decision. And I guess I thought of it that way. But then what do I talk about on the show a lot? Bad decisions and stuff like that. So
what's crazy to me though, Grant, is of course, one way or the other, right? It was a lot of people thought Jimmy was going to start the whole time. And so now that crowd's like, see, told you so. Yeah. It was obvious the whole time. And it's like, hold on. Weren't you the same crowd that was laughing at everybody that got fooled by Shanahan during the offseason for not taking Mac Jones? So now you're going to believe every word he said all the way through. And we're going all the way back now to the end of July saying, oh, the writing was on the wall. He said it back then and he meant it. No, I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
Look, I'm willing to give my dad a really nice bottle of wine for Jimmy starting week 1. I don't have to. I was wrong.
For sure.
Whatever. Definitely I was wrong. People get credit for being right. I'm just saying, man, Trey's going to be in there fast. Yeah. I could be wrong on that too, but I think it's like, okay, all right. It wasn't quarter 1, week 1. It could be quarter 3.
I guess my thought is this is, again, I'll take the L. I was definitely wrong on it. I was very, very, I pounded my chest on this one. Let me say that, okay? So I was confident in what I was saying. I was wrong, but I still don't believe that if Trey plays lights out against the Chargers, that he's not starting week 1. I think that was the tipping point. Once he didn't play lights out there, that's when it was like, okay, we're for sure going with Jimmy. I think the plan was to go with Jimmy, but if Trey had forced their hand, they would have gone with him if he'd played really, really well in that game. And he just didn't do it. Not at the beginning anyways.
Who will be the week 1 MVP?
Raheem Mostert. Yeah, Raheem Mostert. Listen, we just talked about how this game's going to be won in the trenches. I think Raheem Mostert's going to have a bit of a field day. I look at the Lions linebackers, and this is why I think the 49ers ultimately win. I think although the line is much improved for the Lions, the linebackers out in space are going to be put into a lot of conflict. The 49ers can spin your head with that run game, and I think they do it this weekend, and Raheem Mostert has himself a day.
It's a really good answer. I was leaning Mostert, but I'm not going to go with Mostert since you go with Mostert. But I think we're both thinking along the same lines, running game. I'm going to go defense real quick because the defense could win this game.
Yeah, absolutely they can.
And if the defense win this game, it's going to be probably Nick Bosa taking care of business.
All right.
Probably Nick Bosa wearing out Penei Sewell or D Ford. But I would think that D Ford they're going to start slow with him, that they'll maybe give him 10 plays, like the third downs. Bosa's supposed to play more than that, I would think. And he's going to get a lot of opportunities to win this game. And if, he's as good as people say he is, if he's, like Trent Williams says, he's better than his rookie year. All right, we'll win the game. Nick Bosa could win this game for the 49ers. I got one more guy I want to say.
Okay.
On offense to kind of dovetail with what you were saying. This is bold, but
okay.
Lance, even if he doesn't pass, even if he doesn't run that much, I think what could happen is they try to run the ball with Jimmy, and it doesn't work so well because it's scouted, and they've been running the same running plays with Jimmy at quarterback for the last 2 years. And I feel like Trey Flowers sets a good edge. Jamie Collins, a hell of a player. Michael, they got some good players in their front seven.
They do.
They may need the deception and threat of Lance to really open it up. I'm just saying they may try to run the ball with Jimmy on the field, and it may be tough sledding early on, and then maybe they just bring in Lance to hand off on the same plays, and all of a sudden, boom, it's easy. And if that's the case, then he'd be the one to get credit for opening it up. But you could go with Trent Williams, George Kittle, anyone involved in the running game could be the MVP. But I would just say keep an eye out for the Lance effect.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And, he may not get the credit for being like the MVP, right, stat-wise. But like you said, if he's the one that opens up that run game,
right,
that's a good point. And I think, we talk about the trenches, but really it's going to be outside zones and, end arounds and things like that are probably ultimately going to win this. I'm going to give you a name on the Detroit Lions. He's a rookie, Aleem McNeil. That kid can clog up the middle. He takes on double teams very, very well. So I don't think that it's going to be easy to run up the gut. It's going to have to be the same old, stretch the field horizontally, and that's how this game's going to be won.
Sacramento Mike says, easy win, cruise control, Kyle. Week 1 is always kind of strange, man.
Don't be surprised.
Very strange. Okay. Another prediction. Over or under 6.5 snaps for Trey Lance?
Okay. So I'm going to assume, again, this game is not a blowout. If it is, obviously, Trey Lance is going to go way over that. But in a closer game, I'm going to go under. I don't think, they came out with this crazy game plan against the Raiders. And I think a lot of people are hoping that it's not maybe that wild, but that he's going to have a ton of packages for him. Maybe he's going to play 20% of the snaps type thing. I don't see it. I think now that they named Jimmy the starter, he's going to play a majority of those snaps, and I'm going to go under for Trey Lance, 6.5 snaps.
I'm going over. And it's not because I think the Niners are going to – well, I do think the Niners are going to blow him out. But that's not the reason. I think he could play more than 6.5 snaps in the first quarter. Mm-hmm. And the way I read this is Kyle – I'm trying to think what Kyle wants here because I've been thinking about what the right decision is the whole offseason. It's not how you do it with the Niners.
Yeah.
It's Kyle. What does Kyle want? And he's not always right. He's not always wrong. But what he wants is Trey not to start right away. Not ready.
Yeah.
That he staked his reputation on. Okay, fine. But he also doesn't want Jimmy. He doesn't want Jimmy either.
Yeah.
What I think he wants and what I think appeals to him is a 2-quarterback system. Because with a 2-quarterback system, again, he's the genius. He's the star. If it works, he's the first one that's ever really pulled it off. And he's got a situation where both quarterbacks are bought in. You got one quarterback who's submissive. I mean, goes along with he's just the good soldier. Whatever you say, he does it. And the other guy's 21, the rookie. So really, you do whatever. Yep. They're in. And Kyle, I think he wants to make a statement week 1. This is what we're going to be like this year. And it's going to be the most exciting thing in the league. Not because of either quarterback, but because of the combination and the way that I use them together. And I think he wants to make that statement. It could propel him to being coach of the year, all these things. I mean, the Jimmy Garoppolo experience, he's as tired of it as we are. Yeah. I really do feel that way.
I do too.
I feel like he's itching to unveil the genius of the 2-quarterback system. So I think we're going to see a lot of it. Jesse, maybe I'm wrong here, but I'm recalibrating into what I'm trying to get on his wavelength here. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've been off it.
Yeah.
And I think his wavelength is, watch what I do with these 2 quarterbacks. You think that wasn't what I'm planning to do the way I showed him in the Raiders game?
Right.
We'll see. I'm not saying nothing. That's the way I see it.
Okay, let me ask you this. Do you think that can last? How many games? Let's say that's what he does do. How many games does he do that for before he goes away from it?
I mean, one of 2 things could happen. Jimmy totally falls apart.
Okay.
Or Trey Lance just becomes undeniably excellent. Until one of the other 2 things happen, he's going to roll with 2, I think.
Okay.
And I think that the way you could look at it is like, okay, even if Lance is a little bit injured, even if Lance isn't ready, if it's week 1, wouldn't you want him handing off on a lot of those running plays? I mean, if you know you're going to run the ball 40 times, or that's the goal, 30 times.
Yeah.
Would you want him? I mean, it'd be easy. They know the same plays. Just like, you know what? We're gonna run from the gun this time. Bring in Lance. Right? We're gonna run from under center. Let's just give him something to freak out about. It's window dressing. We're just gonna run the same run either way. Why not do that? I'm not saying I don't know how much he'll throw. He might throw 0 passes.
Yeah.
He might run only 2 times, but I'd get him on the field handing off. The Lions will freak out, and it'll take the focus off of everyone else. It'd be a really good. I call it window dressing at this point.
Yeah. Well, listen, Shanahan's one of the best in the league about setting things up for many, many weeks down the road.
Yeah.
And so you might be right about this. He may get a lot of snaps just so he can set people up for later on in the season. So when he brings them in, they see something, they expect something, and he puts them in conflict, and he beats up. What just happened there?
You get a phone call, and you're like, "Oh, this might be an emergency."
Yeah.
Spam. Like 5 times a day. Like, oh, why am I surprised? Anyway, sorry.
No, it's all good.
Calling me, did something happen?
No. No, nothing big.
No.
Yeah, I mean, you might be right. You might be right about this just because, like I said, Kyle likes to set things up for way later in the season. So maybe it's possible. I just don't see it. For some reason, I think it was window dressing in the other way, that he's got the Lions freaking out. Oh my gosh, what are we going to see? And we're not going to see hardly any Lance, but we'll see about it.
It just doesn't make sense that he would go, man, anyone but Jimmy, right? From like January to May.
From
April?
January 2020 to May of this year? Yeah.
Like anyone but Jimmy. And then he finally gets Trey Lance, who he traded up for. And he's like, actually, I like Jimmy. No. I like Jimmy. Like, no, you don't. What you're doing is riding the fence and trying to be like the genius who has the 2 quarterback system. That's what I'm reading here. You're not all of a sudden into Jimmy. Because I was in practice. I saw those picks. He didn't improve. What you're doing is option C. It's a very Kyle thing to do. Option C. Okay.
Everybody says I had option A or B, and I'm going option C. I'll show you.
Exactly, because I'm the smartest person, and no one even saw option C, and only I can make option C work. All right, Kyle. So I'm going over on this one. David says, do you start Lenore or Norman at cornerback if Mosley doesn't play? Great question. What do you think?
I'm going to go Dante Johnson starts.
Oh, God. Don't say that.
I just got a feeling. I'm just saying I got a feeling that's what's going to happen. He's on the practice squad. You can call him up. I think he's going to start if Mosley doesn't. But I would go Lenore. I just think Dante Johnson starts if that's the case.
Yeah, I would go with the guy who's been on the team all offseason and played well. I would give the first look to Lenore. Give him some confidence.
Sure. I would too.
But, I mean, I understand bringing in a guy in case Lenore doesn't play well because rookie week 1, you're basing this decision off of what he did in preseason. Yeah, I would go Lenore, and I understand the signing of Norman. I'd have a quick hook with Lenore because he's going to get targeted in the first series, 3 plays. Yeah. The first 3 plays, one of those are going to him. And if he starts playing like Ambry Thomas or something, then just go straight to Norman. Just go straight to Ambry Thomas at that point.
He could get a pick though, because Goff under pressure is not good. No. These receivers are not great by any means. I mean, this might be the worst receiving core in the NFL.
Wow.
So
Khalif, shots fired.
Just saying.
East Coast Niners says easing Trey in a game as he learns standard Niners playbook. As he and all the offensive players are learning the new Trey Lance playbook, is Kyle putting together for a second half of the season? Thoughts?
I hope so. I hope so, because here was my argument the whole time. Okay, 1, the 49ers are a run team. We all agree on that. They're a run-first team. Do they run the ball more with Trey in the game or with Jimmy? Well, they're going to run the ball naturally more with Trey in the game because he makes it easier on all the running backs, and he's going to carry it 4 to 6 times himself. So if you're a running team, a run-first team, why wouldn't you play the quarterback that actually is going to help you do that at a higher clip?
That's why I think he's going to play a lot week 1. It's like so many of these plays are handoffs in the game plan. Yeah. Why would you not bring him in to hand off? I mean, it changes literally nothing, and it's a way to mess with your opponent.
Yeah. And then the other thing, the whole other point that I had was, okay, so let's say Jimmy right now is better than Trey. All right. I'll concede that for a second. If that is the case, may the 49ers start Trey all 17 weeks, and they lose one more game. I still think they're a playoff team under that scenario. And 17 weeks of Trey Lance now getting into the postseason is a heck of a lot deadlier than Jimmy Garoppolo, because we know what Jimmy brings to the table and we know what he doesn't bring to the table. So that was why I always thought Trey Lance should start. But I hope you're right. I hope that's the case, because him in the postseason would be deadly.
I just want to say something. I feel like the Niners, the timeline's confusing, but remember, they traded up before free agency.
Yep.
So they traded up thinking they were going to turn over their roster and have a transition, I think. And then free agency started, and we were all surprised. Trent Williams came back, and Jason Verrett, and K'Wan Williams, and Jaquiski Tartt. Like, a lot of us are thinking, man, Robert Saleh is going to poach these guys, and this team's going to be a lot different. Nope. It's the 2019 team back, and that team thinks they're champions. They carry themselves like they were champions, and they got their rings stolen from them, and they're out to prove something, and Jimmy's part of that. And so that's part of it. I feel like they have this locker room that's all in with Jimmy for now, that they didn't anticipate having when they traded up for Mac Jones. That's the other thing. They traded up for Mac Jones, and Kyle Shanahan also liked Trey Lance. But once they decided that Mac Jones wasn't happening, I think Kyle was saying, okay, fine, I like Trey Lance, and he can be great, maybe better than Mac Jones. But you got to understand that I think he's not ready. And that's the other thing that happened here. So this easing Trey Lance in and taking it slow, I mean, it was Kyle's decision from the jump. And that's one of my issues with Kyle. Like, just let it play out, man. You don't know. Not everyone knows the future. Let it play out. And it still hasn't played out. There's been no quarterback competition. There hasn't. Not on equal playing field. And it's going to happen week 1. I'm excited.
I feel like Verrett and some of those guys, Tart for sure, K1 for sure. I feel like free agency started like 9 days before the trade. I think so. I could be wrong, but I feel like free agency started on like the 17th and the trade went down the 26th. Okay. I don't remember when Trent Williams signed.
Maybe I'm wrong. That's my theory, is that like they thought they were going to be like turning over their roster, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, we're going to run it back one more time. Okay, well, maybe I'm wrong. It was not that long ago, and I haven't remembered. So sorry if you guys want to correct me on the timeline. It was a blur. It's kind of important in my whole conspiracy theory. All right, moving on. I don't want to hear it. McBain says, got a sinking feeling in my gut that Jimmy throws a pick 6. I mean, he does that. He did that. He does that every day of the year, even when he's not playing football. I'm sorry. We should have lost to the Lions in week 2, 3 years ago because of Jimmy. Yeah, he did throw a pick. It was almost a pick 6. It got tackled. Guy got tackled at like the 1, and they got called back. But yeah, dude, Jimmy's like dying to do it.
The 49ers got lucky to win that game, because you're right. Not only was it a pick almost 6 that would have sealed the game, but the reason that that didn't happen is because they called it back due to a holding penalty on the complete opposite side of the field where Jimmy never looked. They got lucky. They got very lucky to win that game.
Yeah. Julio says, when are we cutting Jalen Hurt? Never. I don't get it, man. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's just weird. He's a 3rd-round pick. They traded up for Dante Pettis in round 2 and gave up on him. But Jalen Hurt, who's done nothing, is like, whoa, he's got so much upside. No, he doesn't. He was a 3rd-round pick. He's played wide receiver for like 12 games in his life, including preseason. I don't get it.
This is the Shanahan ego play. Period. He's not going to let it go.
Ben says, Grant, if Kyle wins the Super Bowl, he's going to owe you money. He ain't going to win one trying to win MVP. Kyle for MVP. Yeah. This 2-quarterback system puts him right back into being a star. And I think the thing with Trey Lance that kind of puts off some people in the team is that he's a star right now. Hasn't played it down. He's a star. George Kittle, he's up there for 10 minutes. He gets 15 questions, 5 are about Trey Lance. And he's like, yeah, he's 21. He has this edge in his voice. Like,
he really does.
Almost like this. Here's how I look at it. George, if you're watching, it's like in the beginning of Happy Gilmore when people are asking Shooter McGavin about Happy. Did you see Happy? He's like, oh, yeah. Where did he finish? Dead last? Oh, yeah. That's great. Let me know. It's like, dude, you sound like Shooter right now, George. Come on. Let it go.
Like I eat pieces of like you for breakfast.
No. Jody says, Grant, people are talking about Kyle getting Clash of the Year, Coach of the Year. You are usually so down on him, almost like he is incompetent. Reconcile the two. No. He, to me, is right now on He's looking like one of these guys who's a super coordinator and not a front man, not a head coach, not the guy. Basically, the guy you want giving all the information to the guy who makes a decision.
Right.
So he can filter it all out and be like, okay, but we're going to run the ball here. Sorry, Kyle. We're up 10 the fourth quarter. Yeah, we're going to run the ball here. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's the way I see him, as a guy who's got a dynamite system, but you can't trust him under pressure to deliver, whatever delivering is.
Kyle's like the valedictorian, the book smart kid that's super socially awkward. Like, he shouldn't be in a leadership position, but he's a mad scientist when it comes to drawing up plays, right?
You definitely want him in your organization. The question is,
he
has he been over promoted, I guess.
Right.
But by the time people figure out the answer to that, he'll have banked $100 million. So salute, you know what I'm saying? Do your thing. Jody says, Coach of the Year. No, we got you. Appreciate you. John says, what's up, Jesse? What's up? Grant, you think John wants Jimmy? Nah, I mean, I think they all want Trey, but I think they all want Trey. It's just a timeline thing. I think they've all kind of talked themselves into like, let's not rush it here. Like, guys, it's not 2004. Do you look around the league and see how, like, the thing that bothers me about what the Niners did, you do want the advantage of having a quarterback on a rookie deal, but he's like the most expensive rookie quarterback you could have. You traded up for him, and you traded up for him, first of all. So every year that he's on a rookie deal, you don't have a first round pick. The whole idea is that you're loading up your roster in free agency and the draft, and you didn't really get it. So I like Trey Lance, but honestly, for me, I never would have moved up to 3. You could have done this at 12. You could have done this with a third-round pick, and that's why I think, Patriots are kind of smart here. Even though I like Trey Lance better, it's like they just chilled. Mac Jones is dirt cheap. If he works out, they're great. If not, let's try again next year. It's all right,
Right.
Yeah.
It comes down to value at that point. Right now, the 49ers are what? 3 first-round picks, a second-round pick, a third-round pick, and $34 million into a quarterback this year. That's a lot.
Just too much. Yeah.
Yeah. Because Jimmy was the second rounder, right? So there you go.
If you look at the trend in the league, it's about going as cheap as possible at that position. And the Niners are like, no, we're zigging where everyone else is zagging. Like, okay. All right.
We're going to build the perfect quarterback for a lot of money.
And I understand it's like, well, look at what happened. We've had these down seasons because we had to play these third-string quarterbacks. That's true. So we're going to make sure that we're insulated and we're not going to have a bad season. Well, I would argue, one injury to Jason Verrett and you're in trouble no matter who your quarterback is. One injury to Trent Williams, you're in trouble no matter who your quarterback is. So just throwing a ton of money at that position doesn't necessarily prevent the wheels from falling off like it did last year. I mean, look, Emmanuel Mosley has a knee injury right now. That's a problem. If they were playing anyone else besides the Lions this week, you'd be like, that one injury there could lose the game.
Absolutely. Think about it like this. If Trubisky was on the team instead of Jimmy, Trey Lance is starting week 1, would you be more concerned about Lance going down or more concerned about Verrett going down? The answer is still Verrett, right?
Yeah.
No matter how you slice it. So, it's not, I don't know. It's just way too much capital in the quarterback position, but we'll see.
Sacktown Mike says it starts with O and D line. If we can't run the ball or sack the quarterback like last year, week 1 versus Arizona, that will ultimately show what kind of team we'll be. Well, here's the thing. The reason they couldn't sack Kyler Murray isn't because they couldn't beat the Cardinals offensive lines, because Kyler Murray's freaking really good. People forget that. He got hurt second half of the season. He's really good. And then they couldn't run the ball last year. Yeah. If they can't run the ball against the Lions, anything could happen. Anything. Of course.
Yeah. But they're not going to win on Jimmy G's right arm. It's just not going to happen.
But again, I think they're trying to make, if I'm on the wavelength, if I'm finally on Kyle's wavelength, he wants to make a couple of statements in this game. 1, they're the best running team in the NFC, if not the NFL. And 2, they have a revolutionary 2-quarterback system. Revolutionary. Those 2 things. I think that's what the statement he's going to make. We'll see. I could be wrong. If he wants to come out and say that, because I feel like some people think that the statement he wants to make is that Jimmy's great and they're going to come out throwing the ball all over the field. Dude, Kyle, you don't believe that. And 2, that's the way to lose. So please don't do that. Don't freaking try to prove some point like, well, it's the Lions. They suck. We could win. However, let's make this an opportunity to pump up Jimmy Garoppolo's trade value. Please don't do that.
No.
Please don't do that.
No.
He will throw interceptions to any linebacker. He doesn't discriminate. Lions linebackers, Niners linebackers. Don't let him do it.
You're right. No, that would be terrible. That's a terrible game plan.
Terrible. Chris says, I think it's a dual quarterback system to start. Gives Lance real game experience, plus it lets us fans see Jimmy lose the job due to how much better Lance is. Also lets the locker room see it.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. Shanahan doesn't care what we think. He shouldn't. He should. I mean, listen, you can't make franchise and game decisions based off of what we think.
Yeah.
That's not how you run things. But he does care what the locker room thinks. And I think you make a great point, Grant, that the locker room is a lot like this fan base. I think it was split. It's definitely more Jimmy. But I'm telling you right now, Debo for sure has been Team Lance the whole time. He's sold on it. So it's just a matter of everybody. I think Sanu sold on it. I think he sold on it. Maybe there's another couple players, but we know Kittle's not sold on it. And he's probably the biggest voice.
Yeah. So Lance, it's going to happen in a game. Tobin says, 2 quarterback system will be another pitfall for Kyle, outsmarting himself. We'll all see that moment. He'll be praised at first, and then there'll be that moment. That's a very experienced 49ers fan talking right there.
Yeah.
I got to say, I'm not going to disagree with you at all. I mean, I'm just saying this is how Kyle's thinking. It's not what I would do. It's not what I would do. You could try a 2 quarterback system, but you do it when you have one guy making $5 million, the other guy's a 3rd round pick, and you're like, I mean, we don't got a guy, but you're trying to tell me you got 2 guys? No, you don't. You're overinvested in 2. You're overinvested in 2 guys that you're not even sold on. Like, I'm not sure what you think you're doing here. It could work, but Tobin could be right too. It could work against the Lions week 1, and people were like, "Oh my god, this is the future of football."
Yeah,
and then by week 4, it's either not working or they're to 1 quarterback. They're at 1 quarterback.
I love Tobin's point, because this is pretty much why I asked you how long it'll go, because I think the tipping point is week 4.
Right.
I think it can work for 3 weeks.
Week 1. Anything could work week 1.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So this could be
Kyle's in week 4.
Like, we won because of this. Nah, you could have won however,
Absolutely.
Todd99 says, speaking optimistically, would Trey take a Pat Mahomes deal year 4 if he looks like a future Hall of Famer? He would get all the ads with that smile. Man, we're 4 years down the line here. But since you paid me $5, let's entertain the thought. Man,
he's already got a Chipotle commercial with Jerry Rice. How much better does it get?
He would have to go to 2 Super Bowls, 3 AFC Championship games, 2 Super Bowls, and win 1. Yeah. He'd have to get that. Although he got the big deal after the Super Bowl win. So, if he wins the Super Bowl in the next 2 years, then I think he'd probably get it.
He would, but let's also not forget that Mahomes got that big deal, but he's already restructured it. This was supposed to be the first year that he hit big on it, and he pushed it back to help the team. So
true. Ninerbot says people forget how big of losers this team was before Jittery. There's a reason why the locker room loves Jittery. I don't even like Jittery, but he's a winner. They were losers for 2 years. 2 years. Hold on. I mean, Niner fans act like they went through some drought. Like, nah. The Lions, the Raiders go through a drought. Like, no. They had a really good thing going with Harbaugh. They had 1 year where they went 8-8 that they talked like it was a freaking disaster. They had 2 bad years back-to-back with some bad head coaches. They got the one and done. And then they started over, and Jimmy came here, and he was just merely better than Hoyer and Beathard. That's what happened.
Let's not forget that Jimmy's first year, they were also really bad because Jimmy was injured, right? So
also that into that 2017, they lost like 7 games by 3 or fewer points.
Yep.
When Hoyer and Beathard were their quarterbacks. So he was just like 4 points better than Beathard. Right. And he got $100 million because of that.
The 49ers have been really bad. In fact, 2 out of the 3 years that Jimmy was scheduled to be the full-time starter. So are they really way better off with Jimmy?
Alex says, what's your projected record for the Niners? 14-3, Bills, AZ, Titans. I came into the offseason thinking 11-6. And then seeing the Niners decide to go with both quarterbacks instead of the young one, I knocked it down to 10-7.
12.
We talked about that. We did this last week,
12-5.
I knocked it down because I'm not feeling the two quarterback system. You can do whatever you want and beat Detroit, but eventually you got to pick one. All right, let's get back to our predictions. Jimmy Garoppolo's stat line for the season.
Ooh, we want to go season, or we want to go game one, or we want to go?
Oh, both? Game. Hold on. Jimmy Garoppolo's stat line for week 1.
All right, stat line for week 1. He's going to go 16-24 passing, 224 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 picks.
Okay, that's a standard Jimmy line for sure. I'm going to go
but he'll have 2 passes that should have been intercepted, and he'll complete 2 balls past 10 yards, air yards.
Okay. He'll go, I'm saying he's going to go 11 of 18 for 175 yards.
Okay.
No touchdowns, 1 pick.
Oh, okay.
They're going to be taking him out in the red zone, I think.
Yeah.
11 of 18, 175 yards, no touchdowns, 1 pick. Nothing special.
Okay.
But I'm a hater.
They're going to win, and no matter what, he's going to get praise. So it is what it is.
They're going to run the ball a lot. I think he's going to look like a lot like he looked in training camp, a lot like he normally looks week 1. And he's not going to get many opportunities near the goal line. And he's going to do the bad Jimmy interception that they'll either drop or pick off. So,
yeah, that makes sense. I mean, your prediction makes sense based off of what you said about Trey's playing time, and I think my prediction makes sense based off of what I said about Trey's playing time.
Definitely consistent. All right, moving on. These are not predictions. This is not a prediction. The one area the Niners improved the most this offseason, in your opinion?
Special teams. If Brandon Ayuk is the punt returner and Mitchell is the kickoff returner, that is a huge upgrade over anything they've had under Shanahan. So yeah, it's got to be special teams, and it's very important. If special teams can win you a game or two, that's the difference in maybe being the 1 seed in the NFC. So I'm going to go special teams.
Okay, I'm going to go with the running game.
Okay.
To me, this is a run-first team, and really like the only year that Shanahan's been here that they've run more than they've passed was 2019. They always want to run the ball, but then there's reasons that they can't. They fall behind, guys get hurt. That happened a lot last year. This year, it's kind of like seems like they've doubled up at everything and gotten to the point where their running game is going to be fantastic. I think. I mean, they're like 5 deep at running back when Jeff Wilson Jr. comes back. They added Alex Mack, who I don't know if he's going to be that good, but he's definitely going to be better than whatever the hell they had at center last year. And then the whole threat of Trey Lance is going to take it over the top. So I think they have taken a running game that was really statistically mediocre last year, like middle of the freaking pack in the league, and brought it back to something that could be one number. I mean, you got the Ravens averaging 200 rushing yards a game, but up there.
Yeah, that's a good point, because last year, I mean, of course, my mind goes to 2019 where they were a very good run team. Last year, that was not the case. Yeah. And if they're top 2, top 3 in running again, like they should be,
you're going to win a lot of games.
A major improvement. Yes,
that absolutely. Running game and that defense, you're going to win a lot of games no matter who your quarterback is.
Yeah. So I said week 3, they're going to go for 300 on Green Bay. So yeah, I might lean with you on that one.
They could do it week 1. Anthony says 49er fan says 89 from Mobile, Alabama. First-time head coach and GM with head coach in control. No one to check head coach, draft and sign injury-prone players, overpay players constantly. Both get fired. Bieniemy, Bills coach, quarterback coach, offensive coordinator. Yeah. I mean, you got to say, like, if you just step back and stop trying to, give Kyle Shanahan credit because you know him so well and just be like, well, look, I mean, it's the classic missteps of a first-time head coach who was sort of given too much power. Like, guy was 37 and you gave him the whole franchise, franchise.
Absolutely. Listen, I don't know if it's a statement or a question. There's no question mark, so I'm going to assume it's a statement. I think it's a good idea if they struggle this year. I just don't expect that to happen. And if they got fired next year, not this year, Bieniemy's he's gone. Like, he'll be taken by somebody. So that's just not really possible. But I wouldn't be mad at it. As long as it's not Dayball. Dayball's extremely overrated. I do not want that guy to be our head coach. That's the Bills offensive coordinator. I think he's way overrated.
Okay. A lot going on there. Only thing I want to say is I think it's important to remember that part of the reason Niner fans love Kyle Shanahan so much is he came after Chip Kelly and Jim Tom Sula.
Yeah.
He's almost got that little Moses thing going on where like they were wandering in the desert. But it was only 2 years, okay? It was 2 freaking years. And it was scorched earth. It was bad. And when that hiring cycle came along, you're coming off 3 firings in 3 years. Not a lot of people would have said yes to this job. And it was looking like, man, we're going to have bad coaches here forever. And then Kyle came along and gave the Niners respectability. The Niners aren't in that position anymore. They have a good roster. They have Trey Lance. There are a lot of people who would want to coach that kid. And if Kyle Shanahan, if all he can offer Trey Lance is a great system, that's not enough. There's going to be people out there that can offer a great system and a track record of developing young quarterbacks. I'm not saying Kyle can't do it, but there's going to be a line of people who have done it before and are waiting to do it again. And I'm not, maybe Dayball can't do it. He's got a good track record. This guy's saying Ken Dorsey. I don't know if Ken Dorsey can call plays, but he's got a good track record. Bieniemy's got it. There's going to be people who can say, look, I did it here. I did it here. Already in Atlanta, they signed that Arthur Smith guy. People, he's got like the most generic name of all time. He's definitely not a Shanahan. His name is Arthur freaking Smith. But he didn't resurrect Ryan.
He's a Madden creative coach.
Yeah, he didn't resurrect Ryan Tannehill's career. He got it going at like 30. And now he could do the same thing for freaking Josh Rosen. He could get a late career renaissance for Matt Ryan, not just because of the system. So I'm just saying, Kyle.
It's a good point. I mean, developing Trey Lance is the most important thing right now for this team.
Brandon says, would you be surprised if Trent Sherfield led the team in receptions yard? Yes.
Yes, very.
Yes. He's going to be a good player, though. But, I mean, Kittle's still here. Although, I mean, I guess he's pointing out that, like, people get hurt.
Yes, that's true.
Trent Sherfield had 5 catches last year. It's worth pointing out.
Hey, Larry Fitzgerald backed him up.
He did. Oh, he's good. I'm just saying 5 catches. Let's just let him get to 6 catches before we get him leading the team. Rich says Bosa and Ford back are the largest improvement for this year. Oh, yeah.
That's a good one. It's a very good one. Yeah, defensive line.
Good call. Ahmed Ali says, thinking of out of the box, I feel like the pass game has been the most improved just because of Trey Lance. Now the wide receivers can actually play like wide receivers. True. It's true. That's a good point. Let's see if they let him throw though. Kyle's so stubborn, man.
It's a good thought outside the box, especially because he's not starting. I mean, that's basically you saying that he is going to start early in the season. So I like it.
My question with Lance though is like, can these receivers catch his passes, or do they have to get guys with better hands? Also, can these offensive linemen block in pass sets? That's another thing, and that has nothing to do with either quarterback. Can they? Because they're definitely run blocking specialists.
Move the launch point, Kyle. You've heard that a couple times on this show.
I talk about that a lot on Twitter, and people give me these straw man arguments like, well, if you roll them out to the side, you cut the field in half.
Who cares? That makes it easier on him as a passer. What do you mean?
True. Also, first, it doesn't always. The first completion at Lance's preseason, he rolls left, stops, throws right. If you have an arm like that, you can move the launch point and still get full field reads. And if a guy has a cannon like that, he can make any throw. He doesn't have to be 9 yards back directly behind the center to make throws all over the field. It's not all about getting him throwing on the run, although you do want him throwing on the run sometimes because he's more accurate that way. It's just making the defense basically play where's Waldo. You don't know where he's going to be. If you know that 9 times out of 10 he's going to be right there, you're going to hurt him.
He can roll right, and he's proven he can roll left. And you're right. I mean, usually the play breaks down on the backside when you roll one way or the other.
Yep.
And he can make teams pay with that arm. So, yeah.
Bold predictions for the season. Multiple.
Oh, man. Okay. So, first one I'm going to go with is Bosa, Ford, Verrett, and Tart combined miss less than 6 total games.
Oh, wow. Explain. I didn't see that coming.
All right. Well, first of all, I mean, injuries, right? We know that all those guys have had injury-riddled seasons. And at some point, Ward was very similar, but he turned it around. Verrett just played really all last year. Bosa, after missing the knee injury 2 years ago, he played all year, although, it was limited. Tart's in a contract year, so he's going to fight through injury. Verrett's in a contract year. He'll fight through injury. And I think Ford's the type of guy to me that the only reason he's playing is he feels like he has something to prove, but not to everybody outside of the organization. I feel like he's the type of guy that really wants to earn his contract. And so I feel like he'll fight through some injuries that he normally wouldn't as well. So, yeah, I'm going to go under 6 total games missed for those 4, which would be huge for this team.
I like that. I like that very much. I guess I took this question a little in a different direction.
Yeah.
I like the stat predictions. I'm going, I guess, big picture result. And I guess we've talked about this on other streams, but I think the 49ers are going to finish 3rd in this division this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't be surprised if they finish last. And I think that they're a good team. I think every team in this division is good. A lot of people think that the Cardinals aren't good. I think that they're sleeping on the Cardinals. But I think every team in this division is good. I just feel like the Niners are in a tough spot because they're the one team in the division that doesn't know who their quarterback is. And if they think it's Jimmy, then they got the worst quarterback in the division by far. And it's a quarterback-driven league. I know they have a hell of a running game and a hell of a defense, but I think they're going to finish 3rd. I do think that I think they're better than Seattle. I think Seattle will finish 4th. And I think the Niners will make the playoffs. I actually think I wouldn't be surprised if every single team in the NFC West makes the playoffs. All 3 wildcard teams come from this division. But yeah, 3rd place team, that's my bold prediction for this team. And I think Arizona finishes 1st and the Rams finish 2nd. I really like Arizona. And what I promise I'm going to stop talking about them.
No, that's
good.
The
way I think people forget the first half of the season, Kyler was in the MVP conversation with Josh Allen, and he got hurt. He could get hurt again. He runs around a lot. He's small. He could get hurt again. But if he doesn't, this team's going to be really good.
I'm with you, by the way, on Arizona. I have the 49ers winning the division. I have all 4 teams making the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I have Arizona finishing 2nd in this division.
Okay.
People thought I was crazy for that. So I'm not mad at it because I really do believe in Arizona. I think they're going to be really good this year.
Look, everyone says, but their coach sucks. Hey, I won't debate it. I won't debate it. And if they fall short, fire him right now.
Would you rather have the worst coach or the worst quarterback in the division, though? I'll take head coach. Probably.
I think they're almost in a position right now where like lots of coaches could succeed with this guy. And Cliff is pretty bad, but what Kyler does is just create on his own. Like he's creating the offense in Arizona,
right?
On his
own.
Doesn't
matter.
And then the defense is stacked. At least the front 7 is. They have an elite front 7 and an elite strong safety. Not a bad and the best offensive line in the division. Yeah. I don't want to talk about him anymore, though. I'm sorry. I watch him go.
To be fair, though, you said that the 49ers have the worst QB if Garoppolo plays. If Lance plays, they still have the worst QB in the division for a rookie year, right? I'm obviously, I'm big on Lance, but as a rookie, he's not better than any of those guys.
No. So, okay. How about you got any more? I got more.
Yeah, I got one. 49ers take home 2 NFL seasonal awards. So, Coach of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. I think Fred Warner wins Defensive Player of the Year, so that could be a bold prediction on its own. But I also think they're going to win another award, whether it's comeback for Bosa or Ford, Coach of the Year for Shanahan, something like that. But I think that they come away with 2 NFL seasonal awards by the end of this thing.
It could be Coach of the Year for Shanahan. Although if it's a wild card, I don't know. If they're 10-7, I don't know. But it could be if it's with the 2 quarterback system. I'm with you on that. Okay. Here's my bold prediction too. Trey Lance starts the 49ers playoff game. He's the starter at this point in the season. He's starting, and he'll be like the 2nd youngest quarterback to start a playoff game ever, I think, after Lamar. And he's going to struggle in that game, and he's going to lose, just like Lamar did, because they waited too long to start him. And instead of having him go through those growing pains in September and October, he, starts maybe 7-8 games this season. He got playing time earlier, but starts 7-8 games this season, like Lamar did, wins a lot of them. But that first playoff game is it's too much, and they lose.
Okay.
Playoffs.
All right. I got one more. If Trey Lance starts by week 10, this team goes to the Super Bowl.
Ooh.
If he doesn't, and Jimmy's the starter when they go to the playoffs, they get bounced in the wild card round.
Okay. All right. I feel like they're going to get bounced one way or another because of Kyle's indecision. If he, but I like what you're saying too. Maybe Trey Lance can take it. He could be the first rookie to do it. I'm very interested to see what happens to him once he finally gets to settle into a rhythm. I just don't know when the Niners let him do that.
Okay.
Mason says, where's Armstead been this offseason? I haven't heard any Eric Armstead slander in a while. Let's give him credit. He's been at practice almost every day.
Yeah.
He missed like 2 or 3 days. He's been Iron Man along with Mike McGlinchey, 2 guys I make fun of. Worked their asses off this offseason. So good for them.
Listen, people hate it when you do it, Grant, but these players absolutely hear it. Again, if anybody thinks that I'm just talking right now, go to Debo's Instagram. He made a whole off-season video dedicated to shutting Grant up. That's the truth. So if you don't think that McGlinchey hears it, Armstead hears it, they hear it. So if Grant is the reason that they want to be better, I'll take it.
I have a theory. People complain about like Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless and stuff, but like people also complain about how West Coast teams don't get media coverage.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of these players would love to be, argued about in these shows.
For sure.
This is kind of, the closest thing they get because, Stephen A. is not going to be arguing about Mike McGlinchey. No. I'm not saying Mike McGlinchey gets a kick out of it, but just the fact that the Niners fans have there's this show that's pretty good and it's kind of filling that void in their lives, egos.
Well, and quite frankly, you're the only media member that will do it on a regular basis, right? A lot of these guys are going to cater to the team. We saw it all off season. Whether you're right or wrong, you're going to be bold in prediction and you'll talk a little trash. And sometimes these players hear it and they don't like it, and they want to do something about it. So
true. Ramon says, who could potentially be a better alternative at quarterback coach than Rich? I feel he's hindering Trey's development. Anyone who ever played I don't know. I don't understand how Kyle picks some of his position coaches. Some of them have phenomenal track records. Other guys are like, who is this, man? How did you meet Rich Scangarello? How'd you meet this guy? He was just like a quality control guy at Atlanta?
Yeah.
What?
I would say any quarterback that couldn't rely on his physical attributes to be a difference maker. Somebody that had to be mechanically sound and would die to have the ability that Trey Lance does.
I disagree with you on that one. But this is a great dichotomy. Some people, there's 2 schools of thought here. You want someone coaching you that had a different skill set. I'm more the thought of, I want someone coaching him who had the same skill set. So they can talk about when to leave the pocket, to encourage him to leave the pocket. Like someone like Jeff Garcia.
Yes.
But I see where you're coming from.
I want to be clear on this. Somebody that was mobile and definitely knows how to. So Jeff Garcia is perfect because if you look at Jeff Garcia's overall skill set, he wasn't the uber athlete. That's not why he was able to leave the pocket, right? He didn't have a cannon arm.
No.
So he was able to win games without all those attributes, but he made it happen in the same way. So Garcia would be good.
Yes.
Rich Gannon would be good.
Very good.
Somebody like that.
Like the reason I think about this is this was an issue 7-8 years ago with Kaepernick. He decided to go to Kurt Warner in the offseason. And I was like, dude, there's nothing that Kurt Warner did on the field that applies to you, man. Like Kurt Warner could talk about what he did, but you're not going to what are you talking about here, right? First of all, he's not a coach. Second of all, you guys have no overlap. You should have just called Jeff Garcia because I know that Jeff Garcia was interested in coaching him. Anyway, that's the only way. That's where I'm coming from. But that's not what you're saying. Anyway, Johnny says bold prediction: Jimmy G plays all 17 games. That is a bold prediction, but there's some realism to it.
I'll say he's healthy for all 17, but I don't think he's playing all 17.
Yeah, that's also a bold prediction in and of itself. Anyway,
no street close for Jimmy.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Let's see. Let's see if we can just make it to the first game healthy. Anthony says 3 or last place finish, both will get both fired. Injuries will not be an excuse. An ultimatum has been given. That's why Kyle is doing the things he's doing. Down JG all year. Now talks good about him. I do think that there's an ultimatum. I think it's implied. But if they make the playoffs and they go 10-7, they're not going to get fired. It's a very difficult division, but I hear where you're coming from.
If they go, okay, I'm kind of with them a little bit. So again, I think Lynch is the one that gets fired before Shanahan. So let's make that clear. But if they don't meet expectation this year, I could see a scenario where because Lynch is savvy, he's smart, he knows when things are coming, where he knows it's coming and he resigns. He's like, you know what? I want to go back to the broadcasting booth, my family. We talked about
He's
it.
a Hall of Famer now. He'd
A
be
lot
like,
of
you know
stress
what?
and-
I'm done.
So I could see a scenario like that.
They could hold certain things against him, and I don't know who has the final call, but he's the general manager, Javon Kinlaw. I'm just saying, we don't know how the season's going to go. But if it goes bad, right there. And then McGlinchey. And then Solomon Thomas. I mean, and Ruben, it's easy. Like, honestly, if they wanted to be tough on him, it'd be easy. And I don't know if they hold him responsible over his Kyle's picks, but he's a general manager. So, yeah.
Dude, that's so. What's up with Kinlaw? He didn't practice again. Knee. That's fine. His knee's fine, right?
Yeah. Hold on. One something real quick before I lose it. If they fire Lynch, though, who wants his job? First of all, you're taking orders from Kyle. Second, no first round picks. It's not the best job, which is why John Lynch is here. I think when like legitimate, number two people, maybe.
Yeah.
That's it. There you go.
That's it.
There you go. That's it. So I don't know if he's any better. Sorry. I'm sorry. I cut you. I
was just going to ask you, like, what's up with Kinlaw? Is he going to play week 1? I mean, when was the last time he practiced full?
Look, there's no way I know. And they don't want me to know. But just from my experience covering football teams, the fact that he did not participate at all on a Wednesday doesn't look good. Doesn't look good. Usually, you got to at least be limited by Thursday because Friday's walkthrough.
Yep.
So if he's limited tomorrow, he might play.
Okay.
I don't know if he's going to be limited tomorrow. And I couldn't tell you if it's looking, but he wasn't even limited today. Lance was. So it's looking okay for Lance. Kinlaw, and he's not the kind of guy that I think they would just roll out there with no practice. I mean, he's not DeForest Buckner. So it's not looking great, but I don't know. Lions don't know. Niners don't know. They're not saying. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Brandon says, since the Niners travel the furthest of all the teams this year, is that true? Damn. Do you see this as a positive in the sense it could potentially build more camaraderie? Yeah, absolutely. They're gonna play a lot of spades on the plane. Just a lot of spades.
A lot of spades, a lot of dominoes.
Yeah.
A lot of craps. Listen, here's what I'll say. Luckily, if they travel a lot, most in the league, it sounds like, if that's the case, they start the season very similar to what they did in 2019. On the road, 2 straight games, East Coast trips. So they're going to stay on the East Coast together, and that's a good place to build that camaraderie.
Yeah, that's the key right there. Yeah. Waruna. Coming through, paying for the bottle of wine for my dad. This is really too nice. Waruna, love you. Thank you very much. And what I'm going to say is, for the record, this is not going to my dad's bottle. I'm going to pay for my dad's bottle of wine. What this is going to is Waruna, when we meet each other officially, this will be the first round of food or drinks or whatever, and I will get the second round. So,
Waruna, I'm not letting you off that easy either. You can't say I didn't say anything about Kirk and include Kirk in the phrase. You don't win that.
That's right. This is just a down payment for our dinner extravaganza that's going to happen. But I appreciate you contributing to the Lowell Cohn Fund. That's got to be something I got to do on my own. But thank you. This is very generous.
It is very.
All right, that's our show. Thank you very much, everyone. This was a lot of fun. Good stuff, Jesse. Thank you.
Week 1, guys. It is week 1. You should be super excited. This is what we've all been waiting for off season. So be ready for it. Sunday is going to be amazing. Get geeked. Grant, you're going to be there, right?
I'm going to be there. Flying out Saturday.
All right. Well, have fun, my man.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks again, Waruna.